Welcome to Sawdust Nation Podcast with your host, MPG Creations Nick, with a stash. We have Nap from Nap's Nutty Works, LLC, without the stash, but that's okay. And myself, Josh, from North Country Woodworking. You're in for a wild and crazy episode today, so strap in, and I'm going to toss it over to Nick for sponsors.
Well, thanks, Josh. We want to give a massive thank you to Pwn CNC. Pwn CNC makes some amazing things for your CNC machine. Upgrade that dust boot or that CNC fence. Check them out over at pwncnc.com or hit them up on the big IG at Pwn CNC. And my child now is right behind me during sponsors. Yep, I'll be right back.
So he was talking about Pwn CNC and how we have a 10% discount with them, and that's the Sawdust Nation. So our other sponsors include Jtechphotonics, pew, 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 pew. And Nick is back talking about Jtech.
Yeah, if you're looking for that ultimate laser experience with the diodes, check out the Jtech 7.0 or the Jtech 7 Pro.
Pro.
On the website, jtechphotonics.com. Give him a call. Tell Jay that Nick sent you. And last but not least, Totalboat. I've been using a lot of their slow hardener. Yeah, I just love the anticipation with that. Anyway,
been using medium hardener.
I like it fast.
All right. So anyway, check them out at totalboat.com. They make anything from slow, medium, and fast hardener epoxy all the way to wood fillers and varnishes. Give them a look-see at totalboat.com or hit them up on IG at totalboat. They're very responsive. And if you want a 10% off promo code, do me a favor. Shoot myself, Josh, or Nap one of your emails or DMs, and we'll give you that 10% off promo code. All right? But it's on a DL, so gotta shh. Anyway, last but not least, thanks to our patrons. We love you.
Ooh. Before we get into what's going on in the shop on this 60-second episode, we do have a new Patreon, and I'd like to give him...
Oh, wait. Yeah, we do.
We do, and we got to give him a big shout-out. And the big shout-out goes to Clint Caraway. Big thank you.
Clint, go ahead and make my day. That's so awesome. Welcome, Clint.
Yeah, and he tier 3, so he's going to be getting some good content. So we highly appreciate it. And
Clint, make my day, Caraway. There we go. I got it.
And, like always, thank you to all of our Patreons. But with that, Nap, what's going on in your shop?
All right, well, first and foremost, the shop has been extremely busy, but it slowed down for a second, not because of orders, but just because of workflow in general. Personal reasons, of course, but hey, I'm getting ready to get back in there and get to work. I got 2 hat cases to finish up. I've actually was just testing out the SawStop with my dado stack, and let me tell you, that thing makes no noise. Not a shameless plug for SawStop. Not sponsored. But it is amazing, and I was told not to flex on it, but I did anyways because it's awesome. Let's see. After those hat cases, I got a few things. A few episodes ago, I mentioned some leather work. I finally got my first order for some campaign hat leather straps that go on the back to hold the hat on their heads. And I'll tell you what, pretty awesome considering the first one I made fit perfect. My process was nailed down, and they ordered 12 more. So I'm pretty happy about that. Let's see, I got some stuff to mail out. Looking around here, I made a 1.5 inch thick by 20 wide by 12 1/4 cutting board. It was my first thicker cutting board. Normally I make charcuterie boards, but this one was a wedding gift. It was thick.
How did that make you feel?
But the guy asked me for... well, you see, it made me feel really, really good, But anyways, so the individual that ordered this from me asked for a certain size, and I only had certain size pieces left over to make this cutting board. And it was about 4 inches wider than they wanted, and about 2 inches, maybe, taller, I guess. And I told him, hey, I'm going to make this a little bigger for you. One, it's a wedding gift. I'm kind of a sucker for sentimental events. So I definitely made him a bigger cutting board than he asked for. But he's more than grateful for that.
I saw that video you made
then-
of making that grain pop.
Making it pop.
Oh, it popped.
You were just rubbing oil all over that thing.
Ugh.
Listen, anything that has to do with oil and wood, I'm there. But I posted a video to a couple places, and I'll tell you what, you'll never post something without your criticizers. I definitely had, if that's even a word.
The
Your
haters.
critics, there we go.
Call them the haters.
The haters. Had somebody comment on it and say, hey, there's not an apostrophe in that. And I was like, hey, man, listen, this customer wanted that. Anytime I make something, I give like 3 proofs and 3 like green lights, and then I go with it. And I went with it, and the customer loves it. So guess what? I win, you lose, I guess. I don't know.
Real quick, if you guys have any opinion on this, I think Nap, myself, and Nick are on the same page. You get a product from your client, and it's spelled the way they want to spell it. You can even hit on it, say, hey, double check your spelling. If they say, this is what I want, do you send it the way they write it, or do you send it the way it's supposed to be? Personally, I think all 3 of us agree if the client says they want it a certain way and you back that up and say, hey, check it again, and they still say go, I will give them exactly what they want.
Because that's what we're in the business of doing, folks, is giving the customer what they want.
That being said, I'm very interested on you guys' opinion out there, so go ahead and slide into our DMs. Any of the 4 pages work. If you hit the Sawdust Nation podcast page, though, we can all answer. And I just want to know what you guys think. So sorry to steal that from you real quick, man, but I'm really curious what our listeners are thinking about that.
And I'll tell you what, honestly, had the individual hit me up in my messenger and said, hey, it's not right, I could have explained it to him better.
Yeah,
that
that's
way.
more appropriate.
But when you call someone out in comments, like, it's just like, come on, man, what are you trying to do here? What are you trying to accomplish? Just hit me up privately. That way I can be like, hey, this is what they wanted. And then there's no discredit taken. But anyways, that's a whole nother thing altogether. Don't want to go in that bag of weeds. Or is that rabbit hole? Bag of weeds? Whatever. But then I got a couple extra things on the horizon here. Thanks to Nick from MPG Creations and his awesome designing abilities with these chests/foot lockers that he's been making. Yeah, I think he's in our podcast. I asked him because somebody reached out to me. There's a double chief master sergeant promotion. They literally promote the same time. Line numbers are like literally separated by 5 numbers. And they're like, hey, what can you make? And I was like, I don't know. And I asked Nick, and Nick was like, well, you can make a chest, like a his and hers chest. And yeah, I can make a box. And I asked him if it was cool, though, because here's my thing. I'm not one to take a maker's design or like what they do, because that's their livelihood. That's what he makes, and he makes them very well. So I asked for permission first before I went ahead and said, yeah, I'll make this. And that's something that's on the horizon, as well as a shadow box, my first shadow box. I'm scared. That's coming up as well towards the middle of October. Then I got the 100 pieces that are sitting on the SawStop. Can't talk anymore about the 100 pieces other than it's 100 pieces. Very small, mind you. And I think that's really it as far as the shop is concerned. I am going to get a spindle sander, though. It's going to happen. It's going to cut time down a lot. I think I've adopted Nick's marketplace sniping abilities, because I found a good jet spindle sander for a discounted price for the used condition. So other than that, though, I'm done talking. Nick, what do you have going on in your shop?
I just shipped out like 7 orders today. It's one of those things where the orders were placed within a window, and I try to do all my shipping as fast as possible, but sometimes it's just, I don't have time during the day to stop at UPS every day. I'll pick like a day during the week, which today was the day, shipped out a bunch of orders. I've been having people drop by the house, pick up orders for local orders, people dropping money off. I feel like it's the Sopranos over here. I'm getting envelopes full of money. Yeah, I've been doing quite a bit of different stuff now. I'm venturing out a little bit. I know that Nap has the MTI market cornered for the time being here in San Antonio, but I had an individual who I know, who is my friend here in San Antonio, reach out to me, and he PCS'd since then, so he moved away, but he wants one of those hat stands. So I was like, cool, let me take a stab at it and see how it turns out, right? So, and if you're looking, that's what the hat stand is. The hat just sits on there kind of canted forward. And when the hat's not on it, it's just a decorative piece. I've got that in the works. I've got some plain Jane rectangular shadow box I got to do with the 3x5 flag triangle up in the corner. And then I have a coin rack to do for a medical person who's getting out. And on top of all that, I just got hit up today for something else from the Air Force. But more to come on that later. Still in the infantile stages of what's going on. I don't know whose kid that is. It wasn't my kid, I don't think. Somebody's yelling in the background. Oh, that's
That
Matt.
was mine.
Anyway, yeah, so like my shop's still a mess. Been laser etching. I finished this giant patch the other day. It was a 22-inch or 20-inch tall by like 17-inch wide weapons and tactics patch. And I want to thank Mike from Veteran Woodco for calling me out on Instagram because he thought it looked like I just threw a vinyl sticker on there. For all that work I did.
Shots fired. Shots fired.
Dirty Mike and the boys over there saying that it looks like there's a vinyl sticker on there. I'm like, that's either a really good compliment or it's calling me out. I don't know what to think. I just thought it was kind of funny though. So I posted after originally posting pictures of it on Instagram, and him saying that I posted like pictures of during the process so I could prove that it wasn't a sticker. I don't do stickers. So, but it was maple, like snow white maple I got from Dakota Lumber. Cut it out on the X-Carve and then laser etched it, filled the laser etch with Totalboat epoxy and black onyx, black diamond pigments. And it came out pretty good, I think. So we'll see if I get any more orders for that. But that's all I got going on. Nothing too exciting. Just living the dream. What about you there, Josh? You got anything going on in your shop?
Some insight for you. Nightmares are dreams too.
That is true. So what do you got going on, Josh?
Well, it was a productive week. Today alone, I dropped off 3 projects. Long story short, I got the hammer done. It was picked up, sent out the door. So here's a little quick story for you guys. If you don't keep track of your orders and if you don't keep track of what you do with large volume client, it's you should. So all the leadership in this unit was changed over. And the new leadership got a hold of me. They're like, hey, we'd like to find out the process, which I just did with another individual within the unit, but somehow that message got skipped and they wanted to place another order. I'm like, okay, that's great. They asked me if I did a hammer for a certain individual, and I looked through my stuff. I'm like, that name is not showing up. And they were like, well, he said he paid for it. Long story short, I guess there was a stash of the ones that I did do, and they just weren't given out quite yet. So I was able to back up everything with my paperwork and, got it set straight. So just, make sure you're keeping your paperwork straight. That way, when something happens like that, you can be like, this is what I did. I got paid this much. These are the hammers I did. And it was a very easy conversation because I tracked my stuff. Leading into the coming days, I finished up the ammo liquor box, I guess. A heavy hitter Glowforge with that. I got to engrave basically the entire top of that, and then I did the side of the box on the diode while everything else is being completed inside. It was supposed to be a slapped together ammo box, but I couldn't do that, so I did miter corners. I did grain matching throughout the box, and it was a very nice ammo box. In fact, they absolutely ate it up and loved it. So I'm probably going to get another order sometime soon with that. Love working with the military dog community. In fact, my neighbor is in that squadron, so it makes it very easy for communication. But funny enough, I've been working with them long before he arrived. What else did I do? I did 2 orders for one squadron, the personnel squadron here on base. They did a nice piece for the LT. They kind of came at me with it like last week, and I sent it out to the graphic designer 911, and he did it up for me, sent it back, and I got that carved and painted and gave it to him. He also liked the Tech Sergeant coin, the 4-inch coin that I did, and I did one for a Staff Sergeant, a newly selected Staff Sergeant. So it's kind of cool seeing that go around. I kind of thought that might take off once people started seeing it. So, it's kind of in my back pocket, and I got to learn some new stuff in Inkscape and Lightburn. And a little side note on that, if you're doing curved text, you can do an Inkscape, but if you have Lightburn, do it there. Much easier. Took me a matter of minutes versus like an hour trying to figure it out in Inkscape, which is probably user error, but let's just face it. Lightburn is...
It's so weird how easy it is to do in Lightburn.
It is. It's crazy.
And versus how, like, you know, how difficult it is to find out how to do it in Inkscape. Even easel is a little difficult.
Easel I can never get right.
The spacing right.
Inkscape, the problem I was having is when I went to go attach the text to the line, it would go inverted.
It's because we were inverted.
I was actually upside down looking at the computer. It was kind of a Spider-Man technique.
Goose no.
But no, yeah. So I went to Lightburn and I literally like 5 minutes had it right, and I'm like, okay, this is obviously where I'm going to be designing this from now on. But moving past that, those were picked up at like 7:00. So those are out the door as well. I'm doing a shield with a Units logo on there. And it's kind of similar to the Colonel Hall thing I did a while back, where it has walnut cherry as a backer. And then it has the actual painted or shield or logo in the front. The last one I did for the Colonel was not painted. It was just outlined in black. But the one I currently am working on gave me a little trouble. And here it is in its painted form. So long story short, no harm, no foul, but I put it on the kitchen table because I was going to paint it that night. It was last night. And I told my kid, hey, don't spill anything on this. Try to keep away from it. And wouldn't you know it, I walk away. He accidentally flipped over his drink and the water hit it. And I'm thinking to myself, like, this thing's going to bow. I'm going to have to start all over. It's literally due on the 1st. So I got through that. And, you know, came back after it dried and it stayed perfectly flat. So it was safe there. Painted it up last night. It was getting late. It was about 3-4 o'clock in the morning. And I got completed, went back upstairs, came down this morning, looked at it again, and I realized that where blue needed to be, I painted it yellow. So that was fun. Halfway through trying to paint that blue. Yep. I then realized, like, hey, there's a better way to do this. I should have painted it white. And then painted it blue, as Nap reminded me as well when I brought it up to him. So there's a little tidbit for you. Just take it slow. If something doesn't look right, it probably isn't right. Just like Nick's mustache.
Hey, so on a real note, though, real quick, Josh, it's funny. So you talk about, like, kids, right? So every maker out there, I'm about 99.5, not 9, but 5% of the makers out there probably have children.
Oh, yeah.
And they've either all brought something inside to get worked on, or they've had something in the shop. And the kids always find their ways out to the shops. It's inevitable. It'll always happen. They will walk in, or even when you're in a podcast, like kind of like right now, yep. Nick probably went to go deal with a fight between his kids. You know, it is what it is. But the thing is the way we recover from the way our kids mess something up, I think speaks to a skill, if you will. You know, I mean, because at the end of the day, you could be amazing.
And this is my bad. I didn't recover as smoothly as I should have. I was pretty upset about it. I thought I was going to start over. I was pretty upset about it. Because this piece right here is, I believe it's 17 inches, 17 and a quarter by 17.5. And I have to take at least 2 pieces of wood. Yeah, your arm's not even close. You got to use 2 arms for me. Anyway, long story short, I would have to do it, make sure it's flat, and then I would have to carve it again. And thinking about it now, it's not that big of a deal. Kids are kids, and you got to keep that in mind. I was able to save it. I was able to paint it. I just had to repaint it like a whole bunch of times just to get it right, because trying to paint blue and yellow definitely, yeah, there was a lot of green there for a minute. But, you know, the acrylic paint I'm using is pretty good, so I did get it covered, and we have a puppy dog.
Dude, he just put food down. That dog's about to eat its food. Oh,
live
God.
On Sawdust Nation so Podcast, mad. You get to see Nick's food.
Nick! He put a sandwich down. That sandwich is about to get destroyed.
Oh, you can see something happening because his computer goes up and down a little bit.
Oh, God. Nick's about to be mad. He's already taking care of his kids.
Yeah, poor guy. Yeah, so we all feel the kid thing. You know what I'm saying? kids are going to be kids. Things are going to happen, but there's a lesson for everyone in there.
You know, oh, there he is. He's back. Oh, no, he just noticed. He's like, you mother... Is your food still there? That's the real question.
Oh, the dog?
Yeah.
It's still there.
Okay, because we're like, dude, he just set a plate down. The dog came across, and I was like, oh, no.
This kid...
Everything good, though?
Paint. I don't know where he got paint. It's all over the upstairs.
Literally just talking about kids.
We were literally just talking about kids and what they do. And here you come just solidifying the point.
Oh.
Listen, folks, we can't make this up. The content just comes freely. Like, we come in with a plan and it never happens that way. Brought to you by Sawdust Nation Podcast. You're welcome. Go ahead, sorry.
No, it's something else, man. It really is something else. Like, kids are something else, let me tell you.
So,
that was the end of my thought.
Okay, I wanted to make sure that was the end of your thought because I didn't want to cut you off like we all seem to do. It happens where it's virtual. Okay, so it is what it is. But I saw something on Facebook today when I was going through. I'm not going to name the page because I don't want to put them on blast. But after I made my cutting board, I've joined a couple pages because I want to see like the different ways you can make them. Because I do want to get into making like an inventory of boards. Because I have a lot of scrap cutoffs and things, and they're long enough and wide enough that you can make good edge grains and end grain type boards. Yeah. So I was like, well, I want to see what's out there because I'm not that creative. Well, people were dogging on this dude because he asked about a benchtop Rikon 6-inch joiner. And this guy goes, it's worthless. Don't even waste your money on it. Get like one of the short bed 6-inch, planers or joiners we got. And I was like, it's kind of bold of you to say that something is useless because guess what? Not every shop or maker has a shop that can support that. I started off.
Not every maker needs a joiner big that huge. Right. You know what I mean?
Right. And that's what I explained to him was like, how are you going to tell me that's useless? That's a bold statement. I started with a Porter cable, which I still have, benchtop joiner, because guess what? My jet joiner only goes to a 32nd. That Porter cable can go a lot thinner. Now, mind you, it's like shaving hairs off. Yes, sir. That's awesome. Can you please go watch Power Rangers?
Go Power Rangers.
Episode titled The Kid Episode.
Kids
like
do the darnest things.
But I went back and forth with this individual, and I was like, you know what? I'm not here to argue with you because at the end of the day, we're not here to measure each other's wood. We're here to give each other pointers and help on, how to do these things. Yeah. And then another individual chimed in about hand planes and a table saw sled and these things. And those are all good points. But the point is no tool is useless. The tool is only as useful as the user. So that's just something to I live by because I've used some of the cheapest tools and I make them work. And I'll tell you what, some of our makers out there don't have full shops.
We all started. This is what this podcast is about. It's about our journey.
I disagree with you there, Nap. I disagree because I've been called a useless tool plenty of times.
That sounds like a personal problem, bud. Josh, finish up your thought there, bud, about this, what our podcast is about.
It's about our journey, right? So we all started off with the basic tools. We all started off with that, router, that, that table saw, what have you. We've upgraded because we're producing work that sells, which anyone out there can do. It's a skill. It's something that can be learned. Some people have it more natural than others. Some have to work a little harder, but you can get there. It doesn't matter what tools you're using. Yeah, we talk about the tools we have and the ones we prefer, the ones we'd like to get, because we're trying to, make our products the best we can. And you could do that at any level. It just will take you longer, potentially longer, to produce that. You can produce it with the basic tools. The tools we have, the only thing they do is increase the speed of how we do things, because you can take someone that has a basic tool set and they can produce anything that I do. The only difference is I could do it in half the time or a quarter of the time because of the CNC or the joiner I have or the bandsaw I have. The quality, that's really depends on the person, and depends on the skill too. So, you have a valid point, man. Buy what you can, marketplace savvy it, get out there, hone your skill, sell your products, save the money, buy the tools you need or think you want to help do what you're going to do. What Nick and Nap do versus what I do, some of it's similar, but we all do different things in our own different ways. I've talked to Nick and Nap and it'd be like, well, I've done it this way. And they're like, oh, I do it this way. And we meet in the middle somewhere, or we're like, oh, well, I'm going to do it my way anyway. That's the one thing I like about woodworking in the community that we're in. You can take 10 people. We all build exactly the same thing to the exact same dimension, same color, everything. And we all will do it different. And we all have a different technique to approach that. And I mean, like, that's what matters. It doesn't matter how big your tool is. It's how you use it.
I've been told that plenty of times.
That's a good point there, Josh. Oh, I bet that little freaking, what is it? Micro tuna can you got going on.
Oh, no. You might be as wide as a tuna can, but you can't touch the top.
The bottom.
Touch the bottom.
And to your point, Josh, as far as like buying things that make your process better or, whatever the case may be, half the reason, and it's funny, I'm playing catch up, I feel, with Nick. And Nick, he bought a laser because, hey, look at this laser I got. He was like, I need a laser now. He bought a damn laser.
I will say, so I've been using the Glowforge a lot more because I'm getting more comfortable with it. I'm trying to, I'm figuring out what it can do, what it can't do. You guys have definitely helped with that because seeing your high power laser work and what you're doing with it has kind of helped, guide how I want to utilize the Glowforge. Because I'm not going to lie, I might have bought it for $600, but I've been kind of hesitant to use it because it isn't like Lightburn where I can set it up real quick and just burn it. I have to utilize the programming and go through that. And with the help with, various people on Instagram, I got to a point where I can actually throw any kind of piece of wood in there and just make it go. And that's come in handy. I mean, like those deep burns, those really rich, deep burns of that detail. Yeah. I mean, like I have people.
I did over 1,000.
I have people like it sounds kind of creepy, but like when I gave the ammo box for to the handler, they literally touched the top because like they were fascinated like the detail and like how deep the burn was to the raised portion, and they're like you just see them kind of like running their finger across it in just an amazement at how good it looks. And it's just like yeah, here you go, Nick. Every tool has its place, and you just got to figure out how to use it. Yeah. But that being said, so CNC and all that nonsense helps. But I mean, like you're out there, you can do what we're doing. It just take you longer. That's the end of it. But to finish my in the shop thing, I have some. I have a cornhole board coming up. I'll be building in September. I have some other projects, probably another board set and a flag and I think a coin holder from the same person they're asking about. I have some name signs coming up. I got done with the 18 realtor signs. Those are actually packaged up on the table behind me. They should be picking those up.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, that was a great win. I've done it the last couple episodes, but I want to say thank you to Wimm Designs for helping me with my upgrade of my CNC. I could definitely tell the difference in how it functions and engraves. Not only is it, I keep saying this because I'm so impressed, it's so much faster. And like the quality of engraving, I didn't know there was like ignorance is bliss, right? So like I was producing great stuff, but I was having different issues and I'm trying to figure out what it is and I'm trying to fix it. And I put this thing together, like this logo, this squadron patch that I did here, unit patch, it's like, I don't have any of the issues I've been having. Like it of course, I made sure
depth issues. Yeah, and
it's just, it's gone. Like I have, like I'm going to post it and then I'm going to see all these issues. But currently right now, I'm not seeing anything with it, which alleviates a lot because I mean, honestly, like anytime you see an issue with your piece, Nick, you guys do this too. You sit there and you'll stare at it, try to figure out how to fix it. And sometimes you make it worse and have to start over. But yeah.
I'm the king of that.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just got to let it ride.
Sometimes, yes. I think that's one of the hardest things I've had to learn. And my wife will vouch for this because like she's seen me out there trying to fix one spot for like 6 hours. I'll make it worse. I'll fix it so you can't see it, but I can see it. So I'll try to, and that is part of that skill that we hit on. As you go along, the mistakes that you make are lessons that allow you to fix those faster and faster to a point where you make those mistakes. That's not even a thought anymore. You know how to fix it. You fix it and move on. That's my shop. That's how the cookie crumbles. And I do believe we have some topics, and that includes some burning of wood.
Actually, yeah. Josh, I wanted to go back and touch on something that you just spoke about, saying like, if you want to upgrade, sell your stuff and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
A lot like this podcast is for the garage shop user, right?
Absolutely.
Guys who have time on the weekend or after work and they want to blow off some steam and, just mess around, experiment, build stuff for themselves. If you're not set up or you don't want to sell stuff, that's cool too, man. You can make stuff for yourself. And I think a lot of people I don't want to say confused, but I think we give off the whole thing where you have to sell your stuff, like the whole idea, which that's our niche. But if you like just making cool stuff for your house and gadgets for your wife or whatever, go for it, man. Like that cutting board,
kitchen tables.
if you're using construction lumber, who cares?
I don't care if they're using like driftwood. If you're out there in the shop making sawdust, this podcast is for you.
Which kind of driftwood? The walnut driftwood?
Yeah, the walnut. The nutty kind. No, I actually just had a conversation with a maker. They reached out for some help with their CNC, and I asked them, I'm like, so what's your plans? Like, are you using the CNC for yourself, trying to get to a point where you are going to produce things to sell? Are you using it just for yourself, family, and friends? I mean, because that depends on the conversation we're about to have. You know what I'm saying? So like if they say, hey, it's just for myself, family, and friends, I'm going to be like, okay, so try these different things. You can go this road and be just fine and create really quality, good stuff. Now, if they say they're going to go ahead and they're going to try to go toward a selling product end of that game, it's a different conversation. I'm going to tell them to spend a little money ahead of time, buy the better bits, and then they're going to get a quality product and they're going to have those bits for a very long time.
Unless, of course, they just break a whole bunch of them like me.
I still have the whole mess of bits I bought with my machine setup, and 75% of them I have not used. Just because I realized very, very quickly that those bits, including the 60-degree bit and the 90-degree bit, are nowhere close to today's bits. I mean, like, the difference in quality is completely, it's different. It's completely different. You can't match them. My 60-degree bit, I've dived into that board more times than I can count or care to admit, and it still carves like a champ. I mean, like, it hasn't broke. Yeah. I mean, the blade hasn't moved, and I literally did this all 60-degree bit.
All of it.
All of it.
How deep did you go?
Eighth
of an inch.
Yep.
And that's pretty good detail, man. Like, you don't, like, when I seen like the pictures and stuff you sent me of it, or
you're not supposed to tell people with the pictures,
I didn't see any tear out. Hey, listen, I know it's secret, but it's got to get out. All right. But there's no tear out on those. Like, with that upgrade you did, because it's kind of close to my Shipoko HDZ or heavy Z-axis that I got, that has no depth variation. It's a ball screw, and wherever it goes is where it's going. There is such a night and day difference between a belt-driven axis versus a ball bearing or ball screw or lead screw type of axis.
I definitely like to upgrade the rest of the system so that is, ball screw. But it's so expensive to upgrade to that point that I think I'm going to wait until, I don't know, probably after our PCS. That way I'm going to be setting up to make sure aligning the CNC anyway. I can go ahead and install that, and I shouldn't have any orders or anything crazy at that time. Give me some time to really, get working on it.
Are you supposed to move soon?
So I would forecast within a year or so.
Ah, interesting. Maybe.
Hey, move to Texas because we're all going to be here. Because I'm going to end up in Abilene probably by May 2022.
Nope. I don't want to go to Texas.
Why not?
Nothing for me in Texas.
There's There's
Are you
plenty
serious?
for you in Texas. They've got mesquite down here.
They got us.
No,
Better yet,
for my job.
Joey
or what I
Steelblade
do.
lives in Texas. I'm just saying.
Yeah, there's a lot of good makers that live in Texas, but there's a lot of good makers that live up here in Northeast. In fact, you can pretty much throw a rock or stone and you're going to hit a great maker around you. Honestly, I don't know
Why
where.
would you want to do that?
Choking them up. No, honestly though, I don't know where I'm going to end up, but my plane here is going away, and so is my job. So I got to figure out what we're going to do. We're just kind of waiting for how the system is going to process us. But by the end of next year, there will be no more of the plane I fly on here. So I have to go somewhere.
That's awesome. Fantastic for you that you have to move, but
Oh, we're good.
that's awesome that you're going to head somewhere probably nice, right?
Hopefully. I'm shooting for some different jobs that will take me some good places, and
You should go to Bangor.
there's nothing for me there anyway. No,
Yeah, you're an airplane guy. They got airplanes up in
I got
Bangor.
airplanes everywhere, man. Very good though. Anywho,
Could you imagine it? Like, this is Josh from North Country Woodwork. You don't even have to change your company
I'll
name.
never change. I don't care
Like,
if they move me to, I don't know, Florida. I'll still be North Country Woodworking. That is where I was.
Yeah, but then it won't make sense though.
Doesn't matter.
You're like what? North Orange County?
It'd be South Country Woodworking.
South Country. There you go.
North South Country Woodworking.
North South Country Woodworking.
And that's Woodworking.
No, but if you're in Bangor, how more north can you get?
Canada.
I mean, you're to the north, all right?
You could actually change
North
your-
Country Working.
You could change your
No,
company name
no.
to like Northeast Country.
Or Bangor Woodworking.
Bangor Woodworking.
Banger Woodworking,
Woods.
where we make your dreams come true.
I'm telling you, man, Bangor Woods and Goods.
Welcome to another Sawdust Nation podcast with Josh from Bangor Woodworking, Naps from Nutty Works, and the SawStop Wiener Nick.
You get the reference though, right?
Yes. Anywho,
Yeah.
we do have some topics we're going to dive into before we go
Okay.
completely off the rails and talk about my new title.
So CO2 lasers.
Well,
I know that's like an abrupt transition.
Well, hold on. Let's do this appropriately. So a couple Patreons actually asked a question on there on a post saying what kind of content or what would you like for us to actually hit on? And we had a couple people write in and we'd like to actually hit on that for this podcast. So we had Ed from Oak Ridge Woodworks hit us up, and we had Greg from G Wally on Instagram. And they wanted to talk about sponsors and how to approach a sponsor when you should there be a number of following, and about lasers, when to get them, how they change the shops, and our input about that. So we're going to go ahead and start. I think we're going to start with lasers, and Nap, take it away.
Yeah, so lasers, pew, pew, right? So I started off with Jtech, actually, believe it or not. So once upon a time, when Nap was young in the woodworking business, I actually started off with Jtech's lasers because there's a guy named Ron Childress. He has a business which his Instagram has been hacked, and he just decided not to put any more effort into it. But it was like Spruce It Up Woodworking or something like that. And
I see
I
what
went
he
to school
did
with
there.
this guy. Yeah. I went to school with this guy, and he's a medically retired Marine. Great dude. Talked to him on a daily, if not weekly, if we don't, happen to get to each other. But he got me onto Jtech's lasers initially, and I hooked up my laser, and I started with a diode. It was a 7-watt, and it did great for engravings. Okay, so that was what I started with. But eventually, I was like, okay, the diode and Jtech makes amazing diodes, but CO2 I found out is just a lot faster. It is just what it is, right? You're using a hobby CNC hybrid versus CO2 standalone laser. So I was like, okay, let me venture into CO2s and see what this is about. So I started doing a lot of research, maybe not as much research as I should have done as far as who to get, but I eventually ended up with over the pond, CO2 laser, 100-watt, probably half the cost. Probably it took a little longer to get than it should have, but I got it. So I started experimenting with the CO2 because of the speed. So diode versus CO2 is a lot faster. The reason why I added it to my repertoire, if you will, is because I could do laser etchings. Yeah, I got big words, Josh. Big words for days. I added it to that because it is a lot faster. I was able to do an etching that was, we'll say, 5x5 in a matter of, maybe 10 minutes with a nice 1/16 of an inch deep burn versus my diode, which would take probably close to an hour, to have a really nice burn. So when it comes to 2 hours for you, Josh?
No, it seems like for every 2 hours, it seems like 20 minutes for a high power. I think what you have the 100. Yeah. For my 45 watt for every 2 hours is in 20 minutes for these two ish, give or take. I mean, I'm Polish. I talk with my hands.
Hey, I'm Polish too, all right? And I talk with my hands
you have
too.
Rope.
All right.
You tie him down. That's why he's.
Yeah, I try to, right?
Nice. He's just rubbing his worry stone.
I am. Anyways, so when to add it to your shop, though? So when did I decide that I needed a faster power laser? Well, as we stated, you don't have to sell your work, but for those of us that do sell our work, time is money. So eventually you got to start to speed up certain productions. Well, if I can have my CNC going when my laser is going, I was going to do that. So what I ended up doing is I bought that because of the production value, if you will. My return on investment has been insane because I've been able to run 2 machines. But the applications are limitless. Okay, so as far as, I say limitless, but that's for wood, acrylics, anodized aluminums, and other metals, and things like that. Now, if you want to cut metal, for folks out there that don't know, you could not cut or etch certain metals with a CO2. You have to use a fiber. Okay, so that's a whole nother thing. I haven't gotten into that yet, so we won't even talk about fiber, but I will eventually, and that'll be integrated into the show eventually one of these days. But CO2 is good for your general purpose wood, acrylic cutting. Heck, Pone CNC, he uses a 100-watt laser, the exact same one I have, to cut all of his acrylic. Okay, so if that says anything as far as production value is concerned, yes, that is the time you should add it. And then, of course, you have applications like myself and Nick have found. So, Nick, I know that Mike from Better Woodco took a little shot at you. Said you had a sticker, but you had a workaround for a carving because you wanted to free up your CNC, and then you found a use for your laser. Talk about that a little bit.
I was debating whether to do it on the CNC, but my problem was I had multiple orders that I was using on the CNC at the time, which were just carved out plaques that if I was to do it on the laser, it would be counterproductive to do it that way. There's just so much area that I had to take out. It would have been counterproductive even to think about doing it on the laser. So I use the CNC and I get more material removal and I'm able to produce more of those items faster that way. So CNC was being used. I was like, I've seen Nap do this before where he etches it out and puts the acrylic, or not acrylic, but the epoxy in there. So I did it that way, and it probably wasn't efficient, but I was getting 2 or 3, 4 things done in the time it would have taken me to do that on the CNC. And anyway, long story short, productivity and speed are huge, especially when you're in a part-time setting. The faster you can get stuff out with the quality that you want, the more money you're going to make in the limited amount of time you have. Now, the same thing goes for full-time, but I'm not there yet. I can only work part-time. So aside from wrangling children and, my Air Force job and doing other things like that, that are like my commitments and priorities in life, this business I'm running needs to be as efficient as possible. And there's no room for, if I have projects lined up, there's no room for me to not be working on the next step at this particular moment when I have something that I could be doing. This way I can be as efficient, and I'll stay in the shop as long as I need to stay in the shop, obviously, but I don't, if I want to take a day off, it depends on my productivity during the week. That being said, the CO2 laser has been a game changer. I love the diode lasers from Jtechphotonics, and I have 7 Pro. The problem I found was speed. And the application for which I use my CO2 laser is I also make tumblers and etch glass, just like Nap, as well as wood. But your Jtech laser is not going to be compatible with a rotary machine unless you have like some super gantry on your what?
No, I just say super gantry because I've literally, before I ever got into the CO2 game, I literally looked at trying to convert something into a rotary for my Shipoko, and that was just too much.
Yeah, you gotta have a lot of clearance under that Z-axis in order to get even fit the rotary tool, let alone the cup or whatever you're trying to etch. So that's where. And now you know that. Hey, so guess what, Nap? You know that the honeycomb that comes with the laser.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't even put it back in anymore. I haven't used it in weeks. It's just a pain in the rear to screw it down. The bed's level enough with the those ribs that go across the bed's level enough. I don't even worry about it anymore.
So the only reason why I use the honeycomb, Nick, and Josh, I know you have your Glowforge, but the reason why I use the honeycomb, though, in all honesty, is I slide my honeycomb up to when it's up far enough to slide up into the frame. It squares it up. So when I put a piece of plywood in there so I can set my rotary on there, I actually laser a rectangle for my rotary. So I perfectly square to my machine, and there's no issues. Now, mind you,
there's workarounds for that.
There is, but again, you and me, right? So like I said earlier, you bought a laser, I think, because I bought a laser. I bought a SawStop because Nick bought a SawStop. I'm just saying. All right. I was like, all right, Nick, you found me a SawStop. I'm going to buy it now. But Josh, what do you got to say about your Glowforge there, bud? I don't mean to take a shot, but I got to know. For those folks out there that do own a Glowforge.
It's okay. I have literally spent less on my lasers than you guys have, and I have 2.
That's fair.
Yeah, there's my win. So, look, it's about the tools and how you use them. My diode has paid me back in probably tenfold now. I have done so much. This week alone, I had the Glowforge and my diode running simultaneously. I was getting things knocked out consistently. I mean, I literally had project after project where one thing got done, I threw another in there. I engraved 18 signs with my logo in the Glowforge. I was just pounding those out. You know what I'm saying? And oh yeah, it was quick. And I did the similar to what you do in the Glowforge. I take the honeycomb panel, I bring it all the way forward, and then I use a spacer between that and the piece to keep it square. That helps a lot, especially because with how I align everything, it's with a camera versus a grid. Man,
I don't know what he's eating, but anytime someone eats on camera, it looks that much better. You don't even know what it is. It's just like...
If you can't afford a CO2 laser, that's fine. If you're producing stuff to go out and sell, go ahead, buy the diode. Yeah, it's going to take longer, but who cares? That's going to do what you need it to do at that point in time. Use it to save up for the next laser. Keep watching Marketplace. You're not going to probably find a $600 Glowforge. That's a one-in-a-lifetime thing. I don't even know how it happened. It just happened. But I found one. You know what I'm saying? And I made that money from my other laser and obviously the wood shop. But I mean, they're out there, those deals. And yeah, it's a 45 watt. I can cut things out. I can engrave things 1/16, and I can put epoxy in them. It just takes me longer than the 2 gentlemen on the podcast with me. And that's okay. I'm okay with that because eventually I'm going to sell this because their resale value is great. And I'm going to get one of theirs. I just don't have the power source or the space.
So, I'll tell you what, Josh, when you do buy a CO2, though, honestly, don't go Chinesium. Just get the Tech or whatever it is that's stateside. Well, it's Chinesium, sure. It's all Chinesium.
It's Americanesium, okay? Americanized Chinese laser.
It's Chinese materials with American touch.
Yes, but the American touch is the American customer service. So I will say, if anybody's out there in the market, yes, Chinese lasers are awesome because they are cheaper, but you pay out the rear end for freight and overseas customs and this, that, and the other. But if you just pay the couple extra dollars,
in the end, it evens out.
Exactly. It evens out, and you get better customer service if you just buy from here. Honestly, I learned that the hard way. I know Nick has an you have an Tech, right?
Yeah. So
the black and red.
I want to give a shout out to them and actually let them know that I'm gonna start collecting a commission, because 2 lasers this week that I know of, 2 people I know of have bought those lasers from them because of me. So, and they're pretty much the same model. I know Joey Steelblade pulled the trigger today, and my buddy Tim Brady from XYZ Mill and Brady's Distillery, he just bought one, and it actually arrived earlier this week. So it's Tech. Go ahead and hit me up, and we will work together.
Hey, and if anybody out there that buys the CO2, that
1% discount,
1%, that's still better than nothing.
Anybody that needs rotary help, let me know. Just send me a DM. I know how to get things working with rotaries. I helped Nick get his set up because it is a pain in the rear end. It really is.
It really is. It's confusing because there's like what would be obvious settings but they don't work like they're supposed to. And then Nap comes along and does some voodoo magic, and boom, everything's working.
So yeah, let me know, folks. Just hit me in the DMs. Nap Snotty Works LLC, and I got you.
So, and also, if you're like a rotary master and you're going around and charging people for help setting up the rotary machines, or like you're trying to have people buy your book on how to do this stuff, and you don't want to,
I know what he's getting at.
Yeah, you don't want to help anybody else. Screw you, dude. That's not even cool. You know, we're all here trying to make it. And if you teach a man to fish, you know, we'll at least have fish tonight and tomorrow, probably the rest of the week until we have pizza on Friday.
Now, I know what he's talking about, Josh, and it's just to go back real quick. There was an individual, no names, none of that, but we'll just say that I asked for help from somebody. They got a little weird and were like, hey, I'm not giving you this because I'm afraid of someone taking my brand, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, all right, cool, bro. I called China. Yes, I called China. I'm sorry. I had to. That's the only way I could get customer service. And I figured out how to get things done, and ended up helping a whole makers community, if you will, in the CO2 laser rotary realm.
But that's why we're here. We're not here just to... We're not just here talking wood. We're here to help. And that's what it comes down to. Like, I don't care if you need help setting up your CNC. I don't care if you need help doing your first cutting board. There are no stupid questions unless they come from Nick. So, I mean, reach out and let us know.
And seriously, though, like they've got the X-Carve stuff down. I've got the Shipoko stuff down for the most part. Like, I've gone to customer service, asked them questions. I've learned a lot from them. They've learned a lot from X-Carve. Like, that is literally the basis of, and I would assume, because this is like my 6th episode, so I would hope I know, is the basis of this podcast is to help anybody that needs help and give advice when we can, right? Because that's what we need to do, is help the maker community. Because it's, what is it?
Look, this is my 62nd episode, and it's absolutely about community over competition. It is about helping your fellow maker. And honestly, if you're not doing that, then you will be found and you will be punted. I've seen people, they were going, they decide not to help the community, and they just disappear. My cat got him.
Well, I just want to bring this up, right? If you have something proprietary and you want to make it so nobody else can make it or use it, patent it, copyright it, do what you got to do. But if it's knowledge that people are looking for just to get a $5,000 machine to move, I mean, what's the harm, right? That's where I'm at. Like that whole thing is, you don't even have to be a great guy. Just for like 3 seconds, 5 seconds, 10 minutes of your time, especially me. I'm busy. I still help people. I've got people. I'm not trying to be like a saint, because I'm definitely not a saint. But I have people that I've approached on Facebook Marketplace currently who still message me with questions about the X-Carve and easel and diagnosing different things. I never tell them no. There's no reason to tell them no. If you tell people no, then that's just going to discourage them. And we're not here to discourage anybody. We're here to at least lift each other up to the point where we can, not waste our money on an expensive machine and just get so fed up with it we want to sell it, you know? How many people
with it and you want to sell it,
Yeah,
go ahead
yeah.
and reach out to me and I'll help you with that.
But how many people you know sell their laser or sell their X-Carve and these aren't production model machines.
They're all over.
But these aren't production model machines. You're not at risk from getting overshadowed with business. There's no way. Not from an X-Carve user. I'm sorry, but I have an X-Carve. I have 2 of them, and I'm never going to overtake like China or anything like that, you know? So that being said, don't be that guy. Be cool. Be a cool maker. We love you guys. We love every maker that loves every maker as well.
Be cool. Be the glue that glues the
Don't
community
you dare.
together.
Right, stuck on you.
And honestly, and not to pick on Mike from Veteran Woodco, and I know we've said his name a few times here, and not shameless plugs, but one thing that he said in I think it was the episode you guys had with him, be a part of the community. Don't just reach out to me to get information and never talk to me again. Like, be a part of it, okay? Because that's how this works.
The community's not an ATM.
It's not. You don't just withdraw and don't make any deposits. Like, you got to help out because that's the only way we all get better.
We should definitely call this episode the Soapbox.
Hey, listen, it really was. But honestly, I think it was good. I mean, some people need to hear some of the stuff we need to say.
It's good because, you know, there are a lot of new makers and I'm grateful. I think there's hopefully a couple new makers out there listening to this podcast. And one of the hardest things to do when you're a new maker and you join the community is ask the questions. It's intimidating. It's very intimidating. I remember asking makers questions in the very beginning, and I'm like, there's at least like 3 paragraphs of like, I'm sorry for wasting your time. I know this is a stupid question, blah, 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 blah. It's not. We all have been there. We're all learning the skill, and it takes a community. You know what I'm saying?
That's why you pay it forward.
But exactly. With that, I think we should wrap it up, gentlemen, and then we can hand the sponsor thing next episode. So take it away, Nick.
Oh, my goodness. Well, we get carried away, get on our soapboxes, whatever. But we wouldn't be able to get carried away or get on our soapboxes if it wasn't for Pwn CNC. I tell you that. Because Pwn CNC is one of our biggest sponsors. Actually, in fact, they are our biggest sponsor. If you are in the market for any upgrades on your X-Carve, Shapoco, any CNC machine, really, whether it be your dust boot to your CNC fence or any fittings for your hoses and all that jazz, check them out, pwncnc.com, or hit them up on Instagram at pwncnc. They got it all, folks. And now, for 10% off your order, you can use promo code Sawdust Nation, and they will go ahead and knock 10% off. No problem. No questions asked. They don't even ask if you know me. So check them out. And next up, Totalboat. Well, you know, Jtechphotonics. I tell them Nick sent you. Totalboat. Totalboat makes some great epoxy, great varnish, and some wood filler. You name it, they got it in that epoxy game. Slow, medium, fast hardener, whatever you want. Check them out, Totalboat.com, or hit them up on a big IG at Totalboat. And if you want a 10% off promo code from them, then you're just going to have to slide into our DMs and ask us because it's all secret squirrel. But we'll let you know. You just got to ask. Anyway, last but not least, Jtechphotonics. Pew-pew! Check them out for that diode laser experience. They make it all for kits for all CNC machines. www.jtechphotonics.com. Pew-pew! And last but not least, thank you to our patrons. You guys make it happen, Captain. All the giveaway stuff, all the mugs and cups and all that stuff we're giving away, the t-shirts, the whatever we're giving away. It's because of you guys. You guys are making all this stuff happen. So thank you so much. If you want to get a hold of us, check out Josh. He's going to tell you right now.
Check out Josh. Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
Fierce.
Anywho, going with the blue steel look. Anywho, if you want to get a hold of us, you can go ahead and reach Nap from Nap's Nutty Works LLC on his Instagram page, Nick from MPG Creations on his Instagram page, or myself, Josh from North Country Woodworking on Instagram as well. And then, of course, we got the Sawdust Nation podcast page on Instagram. But If you want to get hold of us, all three of us at the same time, you can go ahead and email us. We'd love to hear a voicemail, what you're working on, what's going on in your daily. Go ahead and email us at sawdustnationpodcast@gmail.com. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and punt it off to Nat.
So my special message is, hey, listen, if you go ahead and get onto Apple Podcasts and look us up there, you can give us 5 stars. Let us know how we're doing. If you have any questions or anything like that, you already heard what Josh said. You can go ahead and send us an email at that Gmail that he mentioned there. But also you can just get a hold of us at the Sawdust Nation Podcast IG and any of our separate IGs. But if you don't give us 5 stars, I have to warn you that Cat is going to come get you. His name's Walnut. Meow.
Last word. Final words.
Last words.
Final episode words now.
Not final. Last words for the episode.
Final episode words? Oh, God,
Final
we're done?
episode,
Oh, God.
Yep, last one.
Oh, snap. Hey, honestly, Nick kind of already said it earlier, but don't be a tool. Help each other out. Because at the end of the day, we're a community. And the only way this community thrives and we get better is if we help each other out. Those are my final words. Nick, what you got?
So take care of yourselves and each other until next time. Don't be a fool. Help us with your tool. Or wait, that's not how it goes.
Don't be a fool, rapper tool. Is that what you're trying to get for?
Oh, my goodness. So don't be a fool. If we have problems with our tool, help us out and be cool. Y'all
That's a good rhyme.
have a good weekend.
Good job.
Like always, thank you for listening. God help you for listening. Turn it on in the workshop, your car, your kitchen, when you're mowing the lawn. Wherever you are, you can turn us on and we'll keep playing in your ear. Thank you for listening to Sawdust Nation Podcast. Go in the workshop, make some sawdust, and Sawdust Nation out.
Ow.
Yeah, it's still got to work on that.
Hey, make some sawdust. I'm in your ear.
Dude, it's so easy, to just take a moment, walk someone through something. We all do stupid stuff.
You can be like Nick and trip your SawStop.
Dude, let me tell you. When people first start out, they don't think, they're not, their mind's not geared to think CNC or
nope,
like depth
How many
in 3D.
Stupid questions did I ask you when I first started? I literally be like, man, how do you turn it on?
I don't remember, Josh, but I have a log, so we'll have to go through and look.
Yeah, I probably owe you a couple hundred.
Captain's log.
Stardate. It bothers me that people refuse to help other people. Now, I have said no to people before asking questions, but it's been because of they wanted to reproduce something I made.
Yeah,
and
that's
like
that's different. But you want me to teach you how to tram your machine? Cool. Right? I can walk you through that.
I'll teach you woodworking all day. It might not be right. It might be the absolute backward words to do it, but I'll teach you nice and slow, and hope it gets you where you need to go.
I'll teach you how to play with your tools nice and slow there.
You can't do that with a mustache, man.
Nap, get that oil out.
Oh, I'll get it nice and deep like. Mm-hmm.
We're going to make that grain pop tonight, baby.
Pop it like it's hot.
You boys ain't from around here, is you? You sure do got a pretty mouth.
We're done.